Rocky Emergency Task Part 2 in Lake Ribiere, Quebec. Hello there everybody and welcome to another special episode of SnowRunner here at Overfed Gaming. I am the Overfed. Today we are in the Rocky Emergency Task, which is part of the Routier Solutions Canada Inc contract. We're picking up a construction rig semi-trailer and we're going to try to deliver to the tunnel site in the harbor. Now it's going to be quite the drive as we got to go over to the tunnel here in Lake Ribiere to get over to the other map. Now we are about approximately halfway from the edge of the map, so we just got to drive it over to the side and then go south a little bit. We're at the tunnel and we'll end up at the bottom south right hand corner of the map in harbor, and we got to go all the way along the side of the map all the way to the top, so we got a ways to go. Now first we got to get out of the plant site here, and the way the trailer was parked there, the direction I want to go was in the opposite direction, of course. So we're going to try and pull it forward here and just back it up so we can just kind of have it turn around, because there's not a lot of room. Now we are driving our newest addition to the fleet, the Sleiter ST 816 Elephant. It is a huge truck, lots of power, and it's an awesome vehicle to drive. No chains though. No chains, no crane, no flat deck, no nothing. Just a fifth wheel and a 380 liter fuel tank, and we got some spare fuel on top with some repair points. That's not really a big issue at the moment. We probably got the biggest tires of the game on the Sleiter. So, but like I said, no chains. So it's gonna be a little bit of a battle, but he does quite well. But let's go and see what's going to happen here. We got a little drive to go before we get to the tunnel. Now there's one of the other newest additions to our fleet, the Sleiter with some different paint job on it, and he's hauling a fuel trailer for whenever we need extra fuel or we run out. He's around that he can fetch us more fuel if we need it. Now we're going to try and slowly climb out of this plant here as we turn to the left, because we are right on the one side of the mountain and we got to go around it. You can go to the left or the right, but obviously if we go to the right, it's not going to go where we want it to go. So we're going to turn to the left. Now it's really hard going. I guess I could have used my winch in some of these places where it goes a little bit slow, but I was thinking, let's just see. I've only used a Sleiter on one other job, and let's just see what he's capable of doing. I want to see how tough this truck is, because when I do any kind of a comparison, I don't like to put the truck side by side and see how far they can go in deep snow or when they're pulling. I want to see them on the job that I'm doing, that I pick it for. Now I know that the Avonhorn could probably have done this job in the Plaid 450, even the Kenworth maybe, but that's not the point. I want to keep the Sleiter in the group, and I want to make sure that he can do the jobs that need to be done when they come up. So we are on our way as we're climbing up around the side of the hill. That was our first little test. Not too bad. He's kind of dragging along the side. I should have gone a little bit wide there, I suppose. But there again, live and learn. As we carry on here, we're going to be going down the hill a little bit here. Just a little ways. And if you look, you can see the tracks down below. But we get to the end here and we have to take a 90-degree down to the left, down the hill, and then a 90-degree down along the track again. And we don't want to go too far into the lake, because as you can see, the ice is already broken over there, and if we go too far in, we might get in too deep and then not be able to pull out of it. So we got to more or less stay in the snowy mud area there, where we know we can still drive. So like I always like to preach when I do my videos, go slow, slow, slow. Go really slow, because sometimes when you go slower, it seems to work out okay for you. It does for me anyhow. So going a little bit slow, I think, is the better way to go. Now, we are still not out of the woods yet. I think that this here first little part, until we get to the tunnel, has some of the most challenging difficulties in this trip, although there are a few good ones in the harbor too, so please stick around if you want to see something amazing. We've got a ice route that we're going to reveal. That's probably the best route that you can take to deliver this construction rig semi-trailer, but that'll be in harbor. Now, as we're coming along here, we could go to the right, not over there, but just right over here. But we decided that we're going to drive across the water and up the hill on the other side, because to the right we would only go about 10-15 yards, and then there's a little bridge that you'd have to try and cross with a 90-degree turn, because you got to end up where we're going to go anyhow. So I figured if the ice is hard enough, then we can drag it across the ice, and if the Sleiter is strong enough, got enough low-end torque and power, we can pull it up the other side here of the hill. If it can do that, then it's passed one huge test, because this is a difficult thing to do, going up a hill in deep snow, especially when you're pulling a big trailer like we are today. But the Sleiter, he slows down a little bit, but he doesn't stop. Now we got to go straight up where you can see the tree is laying across the road, and then we got to try and drive just on this side of those gray rocks up above. There's a little ledgy area where we got to try and crawl up to. Now, I'm not sure if I really see much of a difference in driving in low gear or automatic. I'm not seeing much of a difference, so I don't know. You'll have to try it out yourself and see what you think. Now, with the Avonhorn, I know it does help out a lot when you drive it in the high range or the low gear, but the Sleiter doesn't have a high or low range. It's just got low gear. But that's okay. We don't need it right now, and we seem to be making it up the hill okay. Oh boy, I tell you, what a workhorse. What a workhorse. And the tunnel is just up ahead. Just around, there it is, right there. And now it is off the harbor we go. Now we are in Harbor, Quebec. We are in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, and we got to get to the top right-hand corner of the map. Now there's obviously several different ways that you can do it. You can go the long way, or you can go the short way. I prefer the easy way, not short or long. Now we can go straight here and go through the mountains, and there's some turns and twists, and might be a little tight, or we can turn left here and go down to ice level. And I never really cared for driving on the ice, but when I looked at this job and checked out where we had to go and how we had to get there, this was the only solution. Because when you got to go through the mountains, it's almost, I would say it's almost impossible. So I resigned myself to the fact that this is the way we gotta go. Now it's just a matter of, can we read the ice properly? Can we tell where it's solid and where it is not? And it seems to be working okay for us at the moment. But we are a long ways from getting there. We got to go all the way to the top of the map. But like I said before, if you drive on the shiny ice, like right there where I'm driving right now, and if you can't see anything really good, well, over here I'm going, okay, let's stay to the right hand side because there's some shiny ice over here, and we'll just follow this shiny stuff along. And wow, I tell you, I bet you we are probably about halfway up the map already. And as we come around the corner, we have our Plaid 450 sitting there from a previous job, which is kind of nice because we are down about 220 liters, sorry. And we still got a ways to go. We're getting closer, but we still got a ways to go. So he can give us a little bit of fuel and we can keep moving. Okay, there we go. And now we're fully fueled up, and through the magic of video editing, we have changed the time so we can see where we're going. And we are back on our way again. Now over here, it's just you could go, I think we're going to go on the, no, I think we're going to go on the inside. Let's drive over the white stuff here, and then let's stick to the side of the hill. When you're not quite sure where you should drive, I always pick close to the hill because then you can always drive a little bit of an angle with one side of your truck up on the hill a little bit. It seems to work out for me, but that's what I do. Anyhow, as we're coming along here, we don't want to climb up on top onto those tracks because they do not go where we want to go. So we got to stay on the ice. I said, this was not an ice road, but a lot of ice driving. But it's sure, if you would have had to go through the hills and drag it through the snow, like I said, even if you could find a route that would get you there, it would take you 2 to 3 times as long, easily. Because we are close to the top of the map at the moment. Now, we still got a few problem areas to go through, but we're close, because as you can see, the arrow, the down pointing arrow and the yellow diamond has appeared on the screen. Now, like you might be going back and forth from side to side for a little while before you get close to it, but no matter how you go, if you would have gone through the land, over the hills and the valleys, you would end up at the plant in the northern part of the map, the same where we're going to end up in a minute. So either way, you got to go through that plant. Now, just like over here, just take a little tight turn to the right around those big shards, and we pretty well got her made for the ice. This part of the ice. Still not out of the woods yet. And this here little narrow passageway it looks easy, but it's really difficult because there's a lot of large boulders in the way, making you zigzag from side to side, which is okay if you're just in your truck, but you've got this long, 60 to 100 foot trailer behind you. So I figure, well, let's lower the suspension. Well, that's one thing I forgot to mention, was that the Sleiter has a suspension mode. One of very few trucks that have it. The Dairy Special, I believe, has it too. So you can lift it up to get better clearance, or I like dropping it down when I need a little more traction, a little bit more stability. So I put it down. But if I need more clearance when I go over the ice and I keep falling in, then I lift it up a little. Anyhow, as you can see, there's not a lot of room. Not a lot of room, but all you can do is just slowly pull it in, and hopefully it'll just kind of squeeze through there and around it. Now as we're coming out of that narrow passage, and you look to your left, you can see the tracks down below there. That's another one of our switchbacks, so we have to go in that direction. However, when you take the turn at the end here, you don't have to worry about turning really tight, because you can make a wide turn and go onto the ice and use the ice as part of the road to turn, because it's solid and frozen on the side there. So I didn't quite use as much of the ice as I could have. I could have gone a lot further out and turned, but just so you know that if you come over to this area, you don't have to worry about driving off the track. Now, if only the rest of the ice was like this, because we still got to do a little bit more ice driving in a few seconds here. But over here, it's a little bit more broken up because the ice is moving and there's cracks and breaks everywhere, and now you'll fall through partially, but don't be too worried about that. I was more worried about the direction I wanted to go, and I wanted to go on the right hand side of those trees, because I'd gone through here before going in the other direction, and I came through on that little narrow side, but for some reason I can't seem to move, and I think the back end of the trailer is stuck up against the rocks when I first came out of that little passage area. And that, it doesn't look like it, but something is holding it there. Or the ice is just too high and I can't pull it up out of that hole that I'm in. So I figure, okay, well, let's just, change our game plan on the fly, and let's go have a different angle, because we've got to break the trailer loose, and we'll just go on this other side and we'll wing it. You can see that it's solid, that the ice is solid on the other side. So we're just gonna have to work until we get it there, right there. Okay, now we got it made. And now all we have to do is follow the solid ice out. We know where we gotta go. The entrance to the plant is just straight down the ice here at the end. So all you have to do is just keep that Sleiter on solid ice. Don't worry too much about the off track. Let the trailer follow you where it goes. And right over here, it's really hard to see, but you can see the tracks going up, and there's a little, you gotta kind of go around it. You see, you go far enough, then you can see where the turn is. This has been a long haul. We're still not there yet. We still got a little ways to go. But I do gotta say, the Sleiter is performing admirably. This is one heck of a good truck, and I think we'll be using him a little bit more in the coming jobs and tasks that are going to be coming up. Now we are going to be entering the plant here at the south entrance, and we're going to be leaving out the west entrance, because we're almost, the tunnel, I believe, would be up above the plant here a little ways, but you can't get there from the plant. You got to go over to the side a little bit. Well, you'll see in a second here. We still got a couple of little trouble spots that we got to go up against, but not too far, not too much further to go. There's the old Mac defense that I used in a previous task, is sitting there. We got 180 some odd liters of fuel, and we still got our spare fuel, so we don't really need anything. Because like I said, we aren't that far away, but we got a corner right up here. Now the tracks go they're on the other side of that pole, but there is no way I wasn't even gonna go on the other side of the building and do that. I figured we'll just climb up right here. Now we've got an old Plaid 450 here that I've left out when I finished a job with him. And you never know when you're going to need somebody, like I've said before. Now over here, as you can tell, there is no way that the Sleiter is going to pull that trailer around that corner. No way. So we jump into the Plaid and we pull up to the back of the trailer and we hook the winch onto him. We just gently pull it over. Just like that. And that way, we don't have to worry about not being able to get that trailer around the corner. That's not a big thing. And I might have been able to get the Sleiter to pull it around the corner had I jockeyed it back and forth. But the Plaid was here, so why not use it, right? So then we jump back into the Sleiter, turn her on, and lo and behold, the trailer is free. It's free and loose, and we can continue on our journey. Now we're just starting our climb out of the, well, we're not out of the woods, but we're climbing up towards the main highway, which is the one that goes towards the tunnel. And once we get there and we deliver this construction rig semi-trailer, that tunnel will be open, and then it'll be easier to go back and forth between the two maps and deliver cargo, material, anything that we need to deliver from one place to that you can't get into it on the other map, right? So now we figure we'll try with a little bit higher suspension now, because we don't really need the low end torque. And here again too, if you're driving, if you're not going fast enough, throw your winch out and hook it onto a tree in front of you and help pull you up a little bit. Every once in a while I forget about that, about having the winch. But that's okay. Now over here we stay to the left, and it'll climb up, and then at the top it'll curl around to the right, and then that's where it should join up with the highway, I believe. Just up around the bend up top there. Yeah, I do believe that we're going to keep the Sleiter around. I think he's a very capable truck, and he just did one of the toughest jobs that I've done in SnowRunner so far. This has been a difficult journey, and pulling any of these big trailers around is difficult, and then through some of the terrain that you got to go through, the four-wheeling and rocks, and it's just, you know, you got to have a good capable truck, and I like the Sleiter. We're gonna keep him. He is now a permanent addition, although I do say that I'm not too sure that I am very fond of the straight exhaust stacks with the flaps on them. I like it when they at least curl out, because it makes it harder to see like this, because they're always blowing that black smoke up above you. Anyhow, that's okay. We're having a little bit of a tough time getting this out of this last little section. I'm not sure what's going on. I believe that the trailer, the back end, is stuck up against the bank, and I finally broke it loose. So here we go. Okay. See, he was stuck up on the side there. Now you got to be careful. We don't want to flip this trailer right at the last second, because the tunnel is just right over there. It's not very far away. We're almost there. Anyhow, this was an absolutely fantastic job. This has been one of my top jobs, I believe. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something interesting out of it. Hope to see you back again real soon at OpaFed Gaming. Until then, we've been delivering a construction rig semi-trailer over to the tunnel site in the harbor in the Sleiter, with me as your driver, the OpaFed.